Welcome to the first episode of Right Right. I was wondering what to talk about in this episode, and then I realized that when it comes to writing, one of the most problematic areas is spelling. And luckily, um, though English is a tough language to learn the spelling of, we also have devices to help us remember the spellings. One of the best ways is to use mnemonics. Now, you may be wondering what is mnemonics. Mnemonics is nothing but an easy method to remember the spelling using cues. For example, when I was a child, I remember this is not exactly a spelling mnemonic, but still, one of the best ways to remember the months is this method of using your hands or your knuckles. The months on the knuckles would represent the days with 31 days, and the months between the knuckles or the spaces would represent less than 31 days, that is 30 days, and in the case of February, 28. So I could easily remember, figure out which month, what number of days is there in each month. Similarly, when it comes to spelling, um, it was I think my teacher in my plus 2 days or my 12th standard who taught me that, you know, she was a grammarian and she loved grammar, and she told us this very easy method of remembering the spelling of grammar. Now, most people would think, is it an A or an E at the end of next to R? So she told us that, as I've highlighted there, the word amma, AMMA, is there in grammar. I never forgot that spelling ever again because amma is so easy to remember and you just get it. Similarly, in believe, there is the word lie. In separate, there is the word para, as in paragraph. In principle, the principal is your pal, so the word pal, so it's not PLE or it is PAL. In special, it is the word CIA, as in CIA is a special branch. If they don't look at the L at the end, it is an L at the end, CIA. And in secretary, she has a secret. So these are ways in which you can also remember the spelling through using these kind of words within a word. Another technique I remember is this using a rhyme to remember spellings or to remember certain things, certain spelling related rules. As in, this is the first one is with regards to the number of days in a month. 30 days had September, April, June, and November. So all the rest have 31 days except February. And this one, I before E except after C. This has been, like it's been in my head since I first heard it. And I can always remember this one time because it's quite easy. I before E, except after C. As in believe. I before E, believe. After C, yeah, there are a certain one, like see, I think it is some words like that. And look at the wives of Henry VIII. Um, and he had six wives, and this was actually there in a song in one of the YouTube videos I came across in Terrible Tudors. Um, Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. It's like a rhyme. Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. So each of the first wife, Catherine of Aragon, then Anne was beheaded, and the next person, and the next person, and so on. It's easy to remember how they died if you remember this rhyme. Another similar one is acronyms. Take, for example, the colors of the rainbow. Violet. So you can see, if you notice the word Vibgyor, this is one of the first acronyms I learned. Violet, indigo, blue, green, and so on. This is another one. Home is another one that my teacher once taught me in my MA class. Hamlet, the four major tragedies. Of course, there are other tragedies, but the major four are Hamlet, Othello, Lear, and Macbeth. So, see home. News you might have heard as a kid, north, east, west, south. And this is another one that I found recently quite interesting. The three most important philosophers in order of their uh, the date of birth: Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle is Spa. Also, this is another interesting one that I found online when I was looking about thinking about mnemonics. homes for the lakes of for seven lakes: Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and Superior. Another also similar mnemonic is based on order. You have to remember the exact order. Then how do you remember the words in the exact order? So this is the earliest one that I remember back when Pluto was still considered a planet. My very earnest mother just served as nine pies. So you can see the order of the um, planets come accordingly. And this is an interesting one for those history buffs of you among us. There are all boys should come home, please. All is Catherine of Aragon. Boleyn is Anne Boleyn. The boys is Anne Boleyn. Should is Anne Seymour. Come is Anne of Cleves. Home is Catherine Howard. And please is Catherine Parr. So all boys should come home, please would remind the order of the wives of Henry VIII. Now, this is another interesting one, which I was aware of at a different level, but I did not know it was called digital mnemonics till recently. Look at the idea. This is like you draw things and or you imagine the drawing in your mind, and this is very good for remembering or very helpful in remembering dates. So look at this one, first one, zero. So imagine it is an egg or a ball. Now, and each one, one could be a pencil, two could be a duck or a swan, and so on. So suppose I want to remember a year. Let's take 1678 or 1670. I don't know, 70, so just to say 1678. So I remember I can think of it this way: a pencil drawing a comet, and the pencil kneels down and as it is drawing, it kneels in front of a snowman. See the imagery association that comes. It's very easy to remember dates this way. I have learned a slightly different technique, but this is equally good. Sorry, three is pouted lips. I'm sorry, not lists. So as you can see, there is we can even invent techniques of remembering, but these are some of the best ways to remember spelling and years when it comes to writing. And I think um, it would suffice to say that the process can be very interesting as well. So thank you for all for listening to me today and continue to write,